My name is Arthur Hale, and today I am 75 years old. Most people think that reaching an age like this means you have finally figured life out. They imagine that a man who has lived for decades must carry wisdom, peace, or some secret formula for happiness. But the truth is much simpler and much more painful. I have lived 75 years, and there is one goodbye I never truly recovered from. Even now, after more than half a century, I can still see that moment as clearly as if it happened yesterday. It was the autumn of 1968. I was 22 years old, standing at a quiet train station with the woman I believed I would spend the rest of my life with. Her name was Emily Hart, and the last thing she ever said to me was something so simple, yet something that quietly changed the course of my entire life. She looked at me with tired eyes, held my hands tightly, and said softly, "Arthur, don't wait for me." At the time, I didn't understand those words. I thought she was simply afraid. Afraid of leaving, afraid of distance, afraid of the uncertainty that life was about to bring. So I smiled, the way young men do when they believe love can overcome anything. And I said something I truly believed with all my heart. "I'll wait for you, no matter how long it takes." She shook her head slowly. There was a sadness in her eyes that I didn't understand back then. "No," she whispered, "you deserve a life." Those were the last full words she ever spoke to me. Moments later, the train arrived. Steam rose into the cold evening air. People were hugging each other goodbye. Families were crying. Promises were being made everywhere on that platform. Emily hugged me one last time. Not desperately, not dramatically, just long enough for me to feel the quiet sadness inside her heart. Then she stepped back, picked up her small suitcase, and boarded the train. At that moment, I believed it was only a temporary goodbye. But life has a strange and cruel sense of irony. Sometimes the moment you believe is temporary becomes permanent. The train slowly pulled away from the station, and I stood there waving, filled with hope, because Emily had made me one promise before she left. "When everything settles down," she said, "I'll come back." For months after that day, letters arrived, beautiful letters. The kind young people write when they believe the future is still wide open. She wrote about the cities she visited, the strange people she met, the quiet moments when she thought about home. But most of all, she wrote about returning. One letter said something I never forgot. "Arthur, I still dream about the little house we once talked about. The one near the lake with the apple tree in the yard." I kept every letter. Even today, at 75 years old, they still sit inside a small wooden box beside my bed. But after a year, the letters started coming less often. Life has a way of interrupting promises. Then one day, they stopped completely. At first I told myself there must be a simple explanation. Maybe she moved. Maybe the letters were lost. Maybe life had simply become too busy. But weeks turned into months. Months turned into years. And slowly I realized something that took me decades to fully understand. Sometimes the most powerful love stories in life don't end with betrayal. They end with silence, and silence can last a lifetime.